Deep in the heart of Egypt, an aging patriarch gathers his 12 sons around his deathbed. Jacob is living out his final hours. He calls them together for a specific purpose, to declare exactly what will befall them in the last days. Looking at this ancient stone relief, you can see how early cultures recorded rigid social groups. Jacob is doing something similar here. He is taking his biological sons and categorizing them, restructuring a single family into 12 distinct, permanent tribes. This gathering marks the moment a nomadic bloodline receives a deliberate political blueprint for its future. By every law of the ancient Near East, the succession should be simple. Reuben is the firstborn. He is entitled to the family's absolute leadership and a double portion of the estate. Yet Jacob shatters that tradition. He looks at his eldest son and calls him unstable as water, stating that Reuben shall not excel. The disqualification is tied to a specific transgression. Years earlier, Reuben went up to his father's couch and defiled his bed, an act of disrespect that cost him his birthright. The right of succession should naturally fall to the next oldest brothers, Simeon and Levi. Instead, Jacob condemns them. He curses their fierce anger and their cruelty, decreeing that they will be scattered rather than given a unified territory. By deliberately striking his 3 eldest sons from the line of power, Jacob creates a vacuum of leadership at the top of the family structure. The remaining brothers are forced to accept a non-traditional heir. The mantle falls to the 4th son, Judah. Jacob decrees that Judah is the one his brothers will praise, and the one before whom his father's children will bow down. The succession bypasses Reuben, Simeon, and Levi, landing squarely on Judah. Jacob declares, "The scepter shall not depart from him." This lineage eventually produces King David and King Solomon, establishing the dominant royal dynasty of Israel. Jacob reinforces this political dominance with fierce imagery. He calls Judah a lion's whelp who cannot be roused, and describes a leader so prosperous he washes his garments in wine and his clothes in the blood of grapes. Authority is no longer tied to being born first. Judah's blessing formalizes the separation of political governance from biological birthright, securing the executive leadership of the future nation. But Judah does not receive every blessing. Jacob turns to his favorite son, Joseph, and delivers a prophecy focused not on a royal scepter, but on physical and territorial growth. He describes Joseph as a fruitful bough by a well, whose branches run over the wall. It is a decree of sheer expansion, promising material and spiritual abundance that will spill over his brother's borders. Jacob acknowledges Joseph's past trauma, noting that archers had sorely grieved him and shot at him. Yet his bow remained strong, sustained directly by the hands of the mighty God of Jacob. Jacob declares that Joseph's blessings prevail above those of his own ancestors, reaching to the utmost bound of the everlasting hills. So the foundation of the nation splits into 2 pillars. Judah secures the political governance, while Joseph commands the vast ancestral wealth and territorial expansion. After laying out these grand structures for his 2 most prominent sons, Jacob pivots to his youngest, Benjamin, with a sudden, sharp decree. He bypasses wealth or royalty and describes Benjamin as a ravenous wolf. He predicts a martial future, where the tribe will devour the prey in the morning and divide the spoil at night. Looking at this ancient harbor, we see the geographic destinies taking shape for the rest of the family. Jacob decrees that Zebulun, for instance, will dwell at the haven of the sea, serving as a port for ships. These 12 distinct decrees complete the transition. The men standing around the bed now represent the official heads of the 12 tribes of Israel. Having mapped out the centuries to come, Jacob pulls his focus back to the immediate present and issues a strict set of instructions for his own body. He commands his sons not to bury him in the foreign soil of Egypt. Instead, they must carry his remains back to the land of Canaan. The photograph here shows the massive stone walls built over the exact location he demanded, the cave in the field of Machpelah. This plot was a legal possession, bought by his grandfather Abraham from Ephron the Hittite. Jacob lists the family members already resting there, creating an unbroken chain of generational continuity. Abraham and Sarah are there, Isaac and Rebekah are there, and it is where Jacob himself buried his wife, Leah. This legal real estate transaction acts as a permanent anchor. By forcing his sons to return his body to Canaan, Jacob ensures they view their life in Egypt as a temporary exile, keeping their sights fixed on the Promised Land. The commands are finished. The text records that Jacob simply gathers his feet up into the bed, yields up the ghost, and dies. These excavated stone foundations represent the bedrock historical legacy he leaves behind in Canaan. The phrase stating he was gathered unto his people signifies permanent inclusion in the covenant lineage. With Jacob's final breath, the era of the solitary, wandering patriarchs comes to a close. In its place, the multi-generational history of the nation of Israel officially begins.